I'm outside 10 Downing Street in London, where a petition has been submitted for Kashmir by Fahim Kiani, Tehreek-e-Kashmir UK President, along with British parliamentarians. Now we will speak to him to find out the purpose of this petition.
Today, International Women's Day is being observed across the globe. On this occasion, on the behalf of British Kashmiris, Tehreek-e-Kashmir UK, along with British MPs, have submitted a petition at 10 Downing Street on the plight of Kashmiri women who have been living under brutal Indian occupation for the last 74 years. We have put together a full-fledged petition laced with various reports prepared by independent and non-governmental international NGOs on the violence perpetrated by the Indian Army on Kashmiri women. India is using rape as a weapon of war, but Kashmiri women survived and refused to surrender in front of Indian Army. In this petition, we urge Honorable Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to use his influence, being a permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations, to put pressure on India to stop all sort of human rights violations in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Parliament for Sheffield, Brightside and Hillsborough, and I'm really pleased to be here to support the women, daughters and sisters of Kashmir. This conflict has been going on for too long, and we will carry on highlighting this issue until we get some sort of resolution.
Yasmin Qureshi, Member of Parliament, Bolton South East. Today I'm here outside 10 Downing Street presenting a petition to the Prime Minister regarding what is happening to the Kashmiri women in the Indian occupied Kashmir. Their human rights are being violated on a daily basis. There are documented human rights violations against them. And it is so important that this petition is being presented today on International Women's Day, a day that must be commemorated, and I'm glad to say is being commemorated throughout the world. The atrocities committed by the Indian forces and the Indian government officials against the women in Kashmir is absolutely abominable, and I call upon my Prime Minister in the United Kingdom to put a stop to this.
This is Shani Hamid, International Political Strategist from United Kingdom. Here we are today meeting in 8th of March in International Women's Day to celebrate the women's right and equality all around the world. And what we demand from our highly respectable UK government to stand for the rights of the Kashmiri brothers and sisters, as Kashmiri brothers and sisters in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir today still suffering from human rights abuses caused by the current government of India. So here we are to ask the Honorable Prime Minister to stand for our brothers and sisters in Kashmir, and to remind the United Nations Security Council to take a question to Honorable Mr. Modi about his commitments in Geneva Conventions, in genocide conventions, and in his abuses in human rights.
Hello, good afternoon to you. Your right to self-determination.
My name is Rohana Ali, and I'm the Information Secretary for Tehreek-e-Kashmir. I'm actually here with Tehreek-e-Kashmir and the MPs and some other human rights activists. And the reason we are here is to hand over our petition for the Kashmiri sisters who've been suffering in Kashmir from the last 74 years. And the suffering of them is not ending. And we all know that many of the Kashmiri ladies are actually living like half widows, and the children are living as half orphans. And there are draconian laws which are making it illegal for the Indian army to rape them. Like Safa law, and even that law is actually called a license to kill. So I would like to ask the international media to actually intervene and get these laws like Safa law, Public Safety Act, Unlawful Activity Prohibition Act to be repealed, so the Kashmiri people can be in peace till the plebiscite doesn't take place. And we urge everybody to actually put pressure on India so the plebiscite can take place soon as possible, which has been awaited for 74 years.
So today a delegation of parliamentarians has presented a clear petition to number 10. As we mark International Women's Day here today, we remember and show solidarity with the women and girls around the world, but also in Kashmir, those sisters who have suffered persecution, oppression and injustice for the last 70 years. The Indian Armed Forces Special Powers Act and the Public Safety Act has allowed the Indian Armed Forces to indiscriminately maim, torture, arbitrary arrest, detain without any evidence women and girls for decades now. The international community must wake up to this. Tragically, this remains one of the most underreported situations in the world, and we today raise awareness all the way at number 10 and will continue to make sure awareness is raised in Parliament and outside Parliament.
So on International Women's Day, people from across the country are coming here to number 10 Downing Street to send our Prime Minister a very clear message. The violence perpetrated by Indian occupation forces has got to stop. We're presenting here today a dossier of evidence compiled about the kind of violence that women in occupied Kashmir have had to suffer, and we have brought together signatures from residents across the country demanding that Boris Johnson actually do his job and stand up, make a moral case, make sure the British argument is heard loud and clear that what we now need is justice for Kashmir and justice for Kashmiri women.
On this International Women's Day, we are here outside the number 10 Downing Street with the Tehreek-e-Kashmir UK to hand out a petition with the 75 years or so suffering which has been taking place in Kashmir, and the brunt of this suffering has been by the Kashmiri women. And on this International Day of Women, we have a duty really to stand up for justice, fairness, and to make sure that the Kashmiri get the right of self-determination, which the UN resolutions are also saying the same thing. That is what's needed.
I'm the Member of Parliament for Sheffield Central. I'm delighted to be here with colleagues and with campaigners today associated to International Women's Day to mark the particular challenges faced by Kashmiri women in the struggle for self-determination, and recognising the appalling violence that they faced and sexual violence that they faced in a conflict which will only be resolved by the international community coming together to honour the obligation and the commitment of the United Nations for a plebiscite in Kashmir, so that the people of the country can determine their own future.
First of all, I would like to say on this Women's International Day, an organisation in my constituency, Tehreek-e-Kashmir, has submitted a petition to Downing Street regarding the atrocities and human rights violations carried out against women in Kashmir. But it's not just women, it's children and innocent people that have been suffering for over 70 years. The international community have to take notice. The international community need to bring this dispute to a resolution, and we will aim to fight for an end to this human rights violation by all peaceful means, and we need to bring peace into the region and make sure India and Pakistan resolve this issue with the help of the international community to the satisfaction of the Kashmiri people.
We're here on International Women's Day outside Downing Street to hand in a petition concerning the abuse, rape and torture of Kashmiri women, from girls, daughters to wives. Everybody, every single woman has been abused in Kashmir, and I want the UK government to take serious action to deal with this. I don't want there to be an agreement for Brexit, which is what this government is trying to do, over the heads of the Kashmiri women. I want those rights to be counted. I want people to understand what it is to have abuse. We here complain quite rightly about abuse still being carried out here. So what is the position of those women in occupied Kashmir who have been trampled on day in, day out? Their dignity has no value, has no price, has nothing of any sense at all. They don't get any health provision, they don't get any support in any single way, shape or form. The Hindutva government in India is abusing their rights day in, day out, and we must put an urgent stop to this. Thank you.
Today's International Women's Day, and we are here at 10 Downing Street presenting a petition about the Kashmiri women in Kashmir and the way they're suffering. I think it's very important that on this day we give them our support, we give the women support all around the world. We believe the Kashmiris are fighting for the freedom, and we believe that they should get the right of self-determination, and they should get independence, and they should decide their own future. I think the international community need to wake up, and it's a time that they listen to Kashmiris and Kashmiri women and women all around the world, because they are standing up for the right, and we are here to support them.
My name is Raja Muhammad Azad from Sheffield. I am the local Tariq Kashmir's president in Sheffield, and I came here this morning. I traveled from Sheffield to London to take part in a Women's Day. Today, 8th of March, is supposed to be a Women's Day. I think that we are mixing up. Women's Day is every day. We see our mother, our wife, our daughter. I just left my daughter behind. So Women's Day is every day. This is, I don't know where this concept came, but anyway, since the world is making Women's Day today, we are forgetting that the people who have been suppressed by the mighty, the countries, America, Russia, India. We got a problem with Israel. We got the women in Kashmir who've been suppressed and been killed every day. They've been in prison for the last 3 years. For God's sake, think about them. Indian Army is killing our women, small girls. They're stopping them not to wear hijab. What kind of Women's Day are we making today? For God's sake, look around. Not only Ukraine, but the world around. Give women a chance to live as a mother, wife, daughter, and sister.
On the significant International Women's Day, women across the globe are demanding women's rights. Naila Asmat, World News, London.